You've probably heard parents tell their kids never take candy from a stranger, or the phrase, stranger danger. That's because each year in the United States alone, upwards of 800,000 children under the age of 18 disappear. And that's just counting reported missing person cases. The missing child in today's narrative is Kamille Cupcake McKinney. Kamille never made it past 3 years old. She was lured with candy before being abducted and murdered by Patrick Stallworth and Derick Irisha Brown. With their crimes so brutal and malignant, it's hard not to consider them as monsters. Before we get into this narrative, I just want to say a quick thank you to everyone who has subscribed to Mixed Narratives. I love having you along this journey, and if you like what you see here but haven't joined the channel, please consider subscribing anytime. Our case today takes us to the beautiful state of Alabama, which is dotted with high mountainous ridges and deep valleys. It is located in the southeastern region of the United States, and 5 million people get to call it their home. It is known for its iron and steel resources, southern hospitality, sweet tea, and football. Fun fact, it's also home to the world's largest office chair, and it's illegal to wrestle bears. Zeroing in on Birmingham, a town located in the north-central region of Alabama, takes us to the home of Kamille Cupcake McKinney. Kamille McKinney, also affectionately known as Cupcake, was born in this town in 2016. She was a beautiful daughter to her mother April Thomas and her father Dominic McKinney. She also had an older brother Amari. Her father gave her the nickname Cupcake when she was born. When she came out, she was all cute and red with little brown eyes, and he said, "That's my cupcake." Kamille was known to be a sweet and loving child who loved her family and friends. However, it's important to highlight that she wasn't friendly and more cautious towards people she didn't know.
Tell us what she's like.
Cupcake. You really won't know she like. She's not friendly. That much I do know, so.
On October the 12th, 2019, 3-year-old Kamille and her 11-year-old brother Amari were dropped off at a birthday party by their mother, April. This birthday party was at the Tom Brown Community Village, a 250-unit public housing complex. Being a public housing community meant crime was rampant, and the neighbourhood amenities were far from ideal to host a kid's birthday. There was no fencing or any physical barriers between neighbouring units, meaning kids could aimlessly wander off with minimal effort. A chaotic kids' party coupled with an unfavourable adult-to-child ratio in a less affluent society, and you might argue that the perfect backdrop for child abduction has just been created. When the McKinneys arrived at the party, Kamille and her brother Amari ran off to play with the other kids, and Kamille was left to roam around. Kamille was enjoying the party. She was seen running in and out of the house and playing with another toddler. Kamille's mum was preoccupied indoors with social activities while she left her children to play and enjoy themselves at the party. At the time, this didn't seem like supervisory neglect, or at the very least, out of the ordinary. After all, it was a party full of kids in their local neighbourhood. However, even though this community has a strong communal atmosphere, it's hard to ignore the dangers that plague this tightly knit community. Tom Brown community was riddled with crime and constantly in the news for the wrong reasons. As a family, the McKinneys raised their children in this neighbourhood, and although it may make people from more affluent communities feel uncomfortable, Kamille's mother had no reason to be concerned. She was comfortable enough to leave their children to their own devices, an ostensibly benign decision, or so it seemed. A few hours later would result in something that will haunt April for the rest of her life. Kamille left the party at one point, but she never returned. And this is where the story takes a tragic turn. Fast forward a few hours, and the party is now winding down. Kamille's mother goes to collect her kids, and Amari soon greets his mother, but Kamille is nowhere to be seen. A sickening feeling for any parent. It was 8:50 p.m. before anyone notified the police, meaning it had been several hours since Kamille was identified as missing, putting Kamille's chances of recovery, let alone alive, at a considerable disadvantage. Birmingham police acted quickly and immediately issued an Amber Alert for Kamille. Amber alerts are emergency messages issued when a law enforcement agency determines that a child has been abducted and is in imminent danger. It instantly galvanizes communities to assist in the search for and safe recovery of an abducted child. Kamille was last seen wearing a pink t-shirt with a leopard print Mickey Mouse face, leopard print shorts, and no shoes. On Monday, October the 14th, Crime Stoppers were flooded with multiple tips coming in, and the reward for Kamille's whereabouts was $1,000. Unfortunately, none of those tips were helpful to the investigation. During the police investigation, they interviewed some children in the area and quickly established some useful information. A man in a beige Toyota Sequoia was reportedly handing out candy to kids when Kamille disappeared. Their suspect, 39-year-old Patrick Stallworth, a black man in a Toyota Sequoia that matched the description the children gave the police. They also had photos of him from a gas station stop that was made that clearly displays the vehicle. This was a breakthrough in the case, and on October the 14th, authorities searched the Parkway Villa complex in Centrepoint and located the person of interest. However, it was at this point the police realised that maybe the suspect had an accomplice. 29-year-old Derick Irisha Brown. I'm about to play a video of a tip the police received from a person living in the same complex as the suspects, saying that Kamille had been spotted in the Parkway Villa complex in Centrepoint.
The dude who they just plastered on the news said they got the little girl. Him downstairs.
Okay.
Him that had a whole surprise visit. Him got a whole lot of company over here house.
Whole
lot of company.
He got a surprise party.
I hope they do find the little girl. I hope they do find the little girl. I know they got him, goddammit. They found his ass. Birmingham too little. And if you playing with these goddamn children, you was a motherfucker. Him downstairs though.
And I'm upstairs.
Me too, I hope that baby safe. I know he good and safe. His ass got a whole lot of protection down there. Everybody that's just not tuning in, y'all know that's the Amber Alert again.
What'd he say?
That's the same Amber Alert. We gonna find that goddamn little girl.
But it'll say whether she been found or not.
No, they ain't brought him out yet.
It sound like they coming.
Hold on, they coming out y'all. Angel, you want to meet? Thank you,
That's him,
That's him, y'all. They got him.
They got him.
Where that baby?
Where's that baby is what I want to know.
Right.
It's raining and I'm in screaming.
Where that baby?
I don't know what they do with the baby. Yeah, they got him. They just walked him out. That was him. They just walked out.
Nah, they ain't letting nobody come up here. We can't even leave.
They got him in the line right here. You can get a good shirt right here.
They got him in the what?
Right there. I'm standing.
Oh, I got to get shot. I got to get him walking out.
They walking.
That's what I want to know.
They got him. They ain't brought the baby out yet. They ain't brought the baby. I don't know if the baby. That's the girlfriend.
Baby ain't got no shoes.
The baby ain't even with them. They ain't even brought the baby out. Then they just gonna come up here and goddamn lay down and chill like everything gravy. I don't know what happened. I just had a whole conversation with the dude. He walked outside. He said, "Man, you seen the news?" Hell yeah, I seen the news. Bitch, you be still. You just be still, nigga, till we get this motherfucking baby together. That was already know that shit, man. That shit ain't finna fly up here. We don't play that type game. Damn, they ain't got the baby. The baby wasn't there, y'all. The baby wasn't there. They got them, but the baby not there. They got him, but they ain't got the baby. Man, you don't play. That's his girlfriend. The lady was his girlfriend. That's the girl that stayed out with him, where he stayed with her.
Nobody stay there now.
They got him though.
They walking her.
Yeah, they finna have to do some talking, buddy.
These people still getting out, y'all.
So if anybody that came down the parkway and wanted to know what was going on, this is what's going on. Y'all, I know everybody done got the Amber Alert about the 3-year-old that's missing, about the baby that's missing. That's what this is about. That's it. Exactly what this is about. Yeah. How y'all doing?
What's up, man?
All right.
Just come out.
Oh, hold on.
Yo, what just?
Y'all hold on for a minute.
Have a seat right there.
There's nobody else inside?
No.
We're just gonna go in and clear it, make sure you know what's not in there, and then we'll be right back out.
They going through my house. No, they can sweep my house. Go ahead. They in that bitch. You know what I'm talking about? They in there. I'm glad I ain't into that crazy shit, cause they in that bitch. It's a surprise party. Nigga do that much. Don't want everything. Nigga don't want that. I hope they find that motherfucking baby. I'm telling you. Now, we ain't finna play that shit. You ain't finna fuck with no goddamn children right in this motherfucker. We gonna fuck your ass all the way home. Girl, we on the LD, goddamn. Straight lockdown.
Coming out! Got it?
And this one. Who broke?
What's that, Facebook Live?
Oh, yeah.
What information do we get on this phone? Did you see that little baby over there?
Hey, I need people on that one.
All these people right here.
All right, stand by.
The camera shot, man, it adds 10 pounds. Can you turn it off?
It do? I gotta go, yeah. It is what it is.
Unfortunately, when the police entered the building, Kamille was nowhere to be found. They spent 3 hours searching the apartment until a discovery was made that deeply worried the police. They retrieved Patrick's phone, and upon going through it, uncovered a phone full of child pornography, none of which were Kamille though. He was taken into custody by the police and charged with 7 counts of child pornography and 3 counts of possession with intent to disseminate obscene material, but he was released after posting a $500,000 bond a few days later. The reward has now been increased to $5,000 for information leading to Kamille's captors, arrest and conviction. Turning our attention to Derick and digging a little deeper into her troubling history gives the police reason to suspect she might be complicit in Kamille's disappearance. On July the 13th, 2018, Derick was indicted on charges that she kidnapped her 3 small children at gunpoint after she lost custody of them amid an abuse investigation. The case made national headlines because Derick led law enforcement on a car chase, before crashing into an innocent motorist and then into a sheriff's SUV. Thankfully, Derick's 3 children who were in the vehicle were not injured. Derick was charged with 3 counts of kidnapping, second-degree assault, attempting to elude, and 4 counts of reckless endangerment. She was apprehended and not granted bail. If she is capable of handling a gun and subjecting her own flesh and blood to such reckless endangerment, imagine what she could do to a stranger's child with whom she has zero emotional connection. Let that sink in for a moment. It's now Thursday, October the 17th, 5 days after Kamille's disappearance, and the Jefferson County Commission approves an $8,000 contribution to Crime Stoppers reward, officially making the total for the reward $20,000. In hopes of finding Kamille and her captors, surveillance footage depicting Kamille's abduction was released to the public by law enforcement on October the 18th, 2019, 6 days after Kamille's disappearance. The video shows Kamille and another child playing alone outside. At first, a man walks past them. You can see the two children bending down in the video. According to some reports, this was due to candy being placed to lure them. And you can see them picking some items up. Then, you can see another man approaching the two children who were picking up items. He stops to talk to them. And they all walk away together. This would turn the stomach of any parent. Kamille's disappearance captivated the hearts of the city and the nation. Despite multiple searches by law enforcement officials, fire and rescue crews, and substantial community support, the missing 3-year-old Birmingham girl was still missing. The Chief of Police in Birmingham kept the community informed about the searches and any breaking information. Even for a seasoned veteran, he too found it difficult to contain his emotions and occasionally struggled to control his tears.
Very critical hours of our investigation as we move into trying to locate 3-year-old Kamille McKinney. Our investigation has gone through several hours. We've had an exhaustive search with the FBI and other agencies who have been so diligent to support us in this investigation.
On the 22nd of October, 10 days after she went missing, Kamille's body was found inside a dumpster at a landfill in Gardendale, Birmingham. The following video, announced by the Chief of Police, will describe Kamille's discovery.
Good evening. I wish I had all of you gathered here with good news. I wish I could share a high five or some other type of celebratory salutation, but I cannot. It happens not to be that type of press conference. I brought you here today because the Birmingham Police Department, along with the FBI, have located the remains of a 3-year-old child who we believe to be Kamille Cupcake McKinney. Her remains were found inside of a dumpster, and they were recovered inside of a landfill here in Birmingham. We had been detaining all of the trash being collected from one area, and we found this evening remains of a child that we believe to be Kamille. As all of you know, Kamille was last seen at approximately 8:30 p.m. on Saturday, October 12th, in the Tom Brown housing community while attending a party. We issued an Amber Alert after that, but our investigators, along with the FBI, have worked tirelessly 24 hours a day to locate this young child and to bring her back home and to hold those accountable who were involved in her disappearance, in her kidnap, and ultimately her demise. Tomorrow we will be screening warrants for kidnapping and capital murder against Patrick Stallworth and Derick Irisha Brown. Brown still remains in custody. Stallworth was taken into custody after we placed the last pieces of the puzzle that we've been working on for quite some time to make sure that we had all of the evidence that we needed to bring them into custody. As you know, we located the Toyota Sequoia, with the beige trim. And we also were able to locate Brown and Stallworth soon thereafter, based upon information and evidence that we had already obtained at the scene. Locating the remains were the last pieces of the puzzle that we needed to bring the capital murder charges and the kidnap charges against the individuals, which we will seek warrants for on tomorrow. I want to thank the public for all of the information, all of the tips, all of the video, and their cooperation with this police department during the time of this investigation.
Yeah.
More importantly, I want to thank the FBI, National Exploited and Missing Children's, Jefferson County EMA, Governor Kay Ivey, who offered so much for a warrant, for a reward, Crime Stoppers, generous donors who stepped forward, who just wanted to see this young child come home, volunteers who came out on a Sunday evening, who went through tons of brush, downstreams, in water, and in trash just to find this young child. Birmingham Fire and Rescue, who I can't truly thank enough for all they've done. There were a ton of people who were involved who wanted to see this young child come home. But I hope that this message is not lost. I hope this message is not lost to young mothers, to grandmothers, and to the entire Birmingham community. It only takes a split second. We can no longer assume that everyone is a part of the village that's trying to raise the child. We cannot take those things for granted. We must work incredibly hard to do more to save the children in this community. This young child has touched the nation. This young child has definitely sent a message across the nation that we all must be diligent to protect them all. I'll turn it over to Mayor Randall Woodfin for his remarks.
I think in this moment, in our city, right now, it is very hard. Taking in the news that the police chief has said about what's happened to Kamille McKinney, affectionately known as Cupcake. But I think it's the hardest for April Thomas, Kamille's mother, Dominique McKinney, Kamille's father, who have received this information, and I know without a doubt are in tears right now. But they're not in tears alone, they're not crying alone, they're not mourning alone. Tonight our entire city is mourning. Kamille is gone. Ripped away from her family. The pain her family is enduring is unimaginable. As Chief has said, and I think I need to make this point, the perpetrator of this crime will be brought to justice and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. But tonight, right now, and at this moment that we're standing in, I ask one thing of this community: not to take sides, not to finger point, but if there is any finger pointing to do, it's only at the perpetrator who we kidnapped an innocent 3-year-old. I ask every member of this community to stand in solidarity beside this broken family. Over the last 9 days, we have been in tune to what's happening here, but more now than ever, this family needs us all. And so tonight, Birmingham, we mourn as one. Please uplift this family. Uplift your own families. Hold your loved ones a little tighter. To the family of Kamille, I speak on behalf of all the citizens and residents of the city speaking directly to you to let you know that your pain, your grief, your tears, your anger, your sadness, your many questions, your pain is not ignored. Your cries for help have not gone unanswered and will not go unanswered. This is a sad day for Kamille's family. This is a very sad day for our entire community. And I ask that we all, in solidarity, lift Kamille's entire family up in prayer. The 3-year-old has been snuffed out from her family. And as I think about my own nieces, as many of you all think about your own daughters, your own granddaughters, a year from now she's supposed to be prepping for pre-K. This is tough. It's a tough moment for our city. A tough moment for this family. I want to turn it back over to Chief.
You know, I want to thank the men and women of the Birmingham Police Department for all of their hard work. The detectives on this case have worked relentlessly, 24 hours a day, and we've maintained our command post because it was our goal and our hope to bring this young baby home. I'll open the floor for any questions you might have before we end the press conference.
Chief, you said you have retaken Stallworth into custody, is that correct?
That is correct.
Can you tell us about what time and where he was arrested?
We took him into custody maybe about an hour ago.
Was there ever a motive discussed at all, or did they ever mention anything as to why this happened? I guess from questioning ever at any point.
I can tell you what we believe at this point. We believe that this was something that they thought about and acted upon, and they saw an opportunity to take a young child, which they did, and our further investigation will reveal whatever actions were taken after that.
Do you know the timeline of when exactly this might have happened?
Timeline of what? Which particular part?
How long Kamille may have been in captivity if she was kidnapped and to the point of her being found?
Well, we're not going to go that deep into our investigation. That's something that will come later.
Chief, is there a reason why Kamille was targeted when we saw in the video there were 2 children playing at the time when you released the second set video, when the police department released the video?
Well, you have to watch the video in its entirety. You'll see that one kid is ahead of the other, and we are unable to determine now why one was taken over the other, or if one was went up to the car and just made themselves more of an easy target.
Chief, the man in the video with the limp, that is not Stallworth, or is that Stallworth?
That's a very good question.
Chief, are you looking to arrest more people? I know you said earlier in another press conference you were looking at more persons of interest. Are you still looking at more people who are persons of interest, or more people to arrest?
We feel that our investigation from the start has led us into a pretty affirmative direction. However, we've always maintained to keep all options open. As she mentioned about the persons in the video, it was our goal at that time to identify everyone in the video to see if they can provide more information to us if One individual, you'll notice the one individual that goes by initially and looks back. We wanted to get more information from him. We are not going to detail every part of our investigation by identifying the folk in the video at this time.
As the mayor alluded to finger pointing and requesting that it not be done, can you now confirm that there was indeed no relationship to the suspects and Kamille's family?
Okay, from what we've been able to tell, there's no connection or relationship between the individuals and Kamille's family. I know that a number of people have asked and commented about where's the mother and why isn't she out here appealing to the public about the safe return of her child. That was our call, not to put the mother out there. It was our call not to put the family out there. We'd asked everyone to remain back and allow us to do our job. This is not a movie, this is reality. And at that time, we just did not see a benefit of throwing the mother out in front of the camera when we had very strong leads. We knew exactly what we were doing, and we knew the pieces of the puzzle that we were trying to put together.
Chief, you took the unusual step of taking the microphone a few days ago and speaking really directly to people who might have known this. It was really almost like I'm talking to you moment. Was the current suspect in your mind at that time?
Okay, we have to keep our options open when we're conducting an investigation. Number one, we have principals that we feel are definitely involved, but we don't know if there were additional people involved or if someone else was holding her. So yes, there was an appeal to anyone else who may have been involved.
Where exactly was this dumpster in Landfill?
The dumpster was located out not too far from the apartment building where we located.
Chief, I apologize if you mentioned this earlier. What led your police officers to that dumpster? Was it a tip or was it a routine search that allowed you to come across the remains?
We have been doing a number of routine searches throughout the city. And this was one of those routine searches that we had been doing. Also, we had been essentially going through about 12 tons of trash collected in and around the area for several days.
So how close to a landfill was it? Was it you said the dumpster was near a landfill?
No. The dumpster was taken to the landfill.
Okay.
How long
All right,
did you
thank you so much. We really appreciate all of your questions, but we're going to end our press conference right now. We thank you guys for coming out. We thank you for your responsible reporting and keeping her name out in the news media and doing everything that you can to try to bring this young child home. You have to recognize this is a very difficult time for her family. It is my prayer that the city of Birmingham will remain in prayer with her family, and we will do what we can to honor the life of this young child, how very short it was, and we thank you so much this evening. Thank you.
An autopsy conducted by the Jefferson County Coroner's Office revealed Kamille had died of asphyxiation by suffocation. The exam also turned up toxic levels of methamphetamine and trazodone, a powerful drug with sedative-like side effects used to treat depression and anxiety. The levels of the drugs in her system indicated Kamille had ingested the drugs and not just been exposed to them. Patrick Stallworth and Derick Irisha Brown were both apprehended in connection with Kamille's disappearance. Derick was interviewed 3 times by investigators, during which she stated that she had no knowledge of Kamille's kidnapping or subsequent death. Derick told police the couple had been together all day, including at Tom Brown Community Village from where Kamille was abducted, but said she was not aware of Kamille's presence until they stopped at a Jet Pep gas station after leaving the public housing complex, on their way back to their apartment at Woodside Condominiums. It wasn't until Monday, October the 21st, 9 days after Kamille's disappearance and the day before her remains were found, that Derick first acknowledged knowing anything about the girl. From the Jefferson County Jail, Derick reached out to detectives and told them she wanted to talk. She was taken to police headquarters, where she then told her version of the events that transpired the day Kamille vanished. She said she first became aware that the child was in her Toyota Sequoia at the Jet Pep gas station. Video from the store showed Derick getting out of the SUV, going inside to pay for gas, and buying a strawberry drink. However, during Derick's questioning by the prosecution, her demeanour indicated to detectives that something wasn't quite right. They were quoted saying, "She seemed fine to me. She's walking fine. Seemed normal." Derick told detectives that they went back to their apartment after stopping at Jet Pep. This is where the stories given by Patrick and Derick begin to differ. A testimony from Patrick's hearing indicated he told detectives that he walked into the couple's apartment and saw his girlfriend sitting on the couch with Kamille and said, "That's not your child." He said Derick indicated that she wanted to keep Kamille and then asked Patrick to do something sexual to the child. Patrick said he refused and went outside to smoke a cigarette. Later, Patrick said Derick put her hands over Cupcake's nose and mouth, forcefully putting Kamille to sleep. Patrick also said Derick removed Kamille's hair bows and clothes and bathed her. He said the next thing he knew, he woke up the next morning with Derick next to him in their bed. Derick, however, told detectives that once at the apartment, she stayed outside to smoke. When she went inside, she went into the bathroom, and Patrick was in there as well. Then she saw a shadow pass by the door and thought she was tripping. Derick had reportedly used ice or meth that day, as well as trazodone. It was Patrick who had a prescription for trazodone. Derick then went back outside to smoke, and when she came in, she made a sandwich and then went into the bedroom, where she fell asleep. At some point, she got back up to use the restroom again, and said she saw Kamille sitting with her legs dangling off the sofa. She said Patrick was kneeling on the sofa in front of Kamille, forcing the girl to perform oral sex on him. Patrick went back to sleep and woke up the following day. She asked Patrick about Kamille's whereabouts. Patrick responded with, "You have been tripping." Patrick had a trash bag and was leaving the apartment. He asked Derick where the lighter fluid was, and she told them it had been left in their previous apartment. Derick told detectives her boyfriend put the baby in a trash bin with old furniture. She indicated it was in the dumpster at the adjacent apartment complex. Evidence proved fingernail clippings from Kamille's left hand showed the presence of Patrick's DNA, but not Derick's DNA. A photograph of a shirtless Patrick taken at the city jail showed a faint scratch on the right side of his chest. Furthermore, 2 Jefferson County Jail inmates came forward with information about Patrick, one of whom said Patrick told him he accidentally killed the child. When detectives searched the house, they found a plastic mattress covered with a bloodstain on it. According to the DNA test conducted on the mattress, Kamille, Patrick, and Derick were positively identified. Patrick and Derick were together the entire day and night on the day of Kamille's disappearance. Video surveillance showed Patrick at the Shell station near Tom Brown Community Village buying $18.91 worth of candy. 5 minutes after buying the candy, 2 preteen girls were leaving cheerleading practice from Hayes K8 Studio when the 2 approached them in a blue SUV. One of the girls, aged 11, said Patrick told her, "I'm looking for a girl that looks like you." The girls said Patrick offered them candy. They became apprehensive and the other girl said, "Let's go." Hayes K8 Studio had a security video to back up this story, but unfortunately, it wasn't close enough to show the occupants. The girls described Derick as chunky and Patrick as dark and skinny. A testimony from a 10-year-old boy said other children told police a man in a vehicle that matched Patrick's SUV was giving out candy in the housing community and said eventually Kamille got into the vehicle with them. Apparently, she was crying. Initially, Patrick denied knowing anything about Kamille's disappearance, but did admit to approaching the 2 preteen girls at the Hayes K8 Studio. He also admitted that he bought candy at the Shell station and admitted he was at Tom Brown Community Village that Saturday night. However, Patrick said he saw a group of young children playing with a mousetrap and told them they shouldn't be doing that, and then said he walked away. After leaving Tom Brown Community Village, Patrick said that the pair went to Jet Pep on a Centrepoint Parkway. Store video confirmed that they had been there. They went home, and Patrick later went back out to a Chevron gas station where he bought an energy drink and a pill for sexual dysfunction. Evidence also showed that after the Amber Alert in Kamille's disappearance was issued at 10:39 p.m. that Saturday, there were 7 telephone calls from Patrick's cell phone to his mother's phone. Patrick's phone signal showed a lot of movement between Woodside condominiums and Parkway Villa apartments, which are adjacent to Woodside and have a worn pathway in the wooded area between 2 complexes. The cell tower records put Patrick at Tom Brown Community Village at the time of the abduction. For reasons unknown to this day, Derick eventually succumbed to the pressure and pointed the police to a construction trash dumpster at Parkway Villas, which was mostly vacant, in the search for Kamille. That dumpster was taken to a landfill and examined by a specially trained team of FBI agents, who recovered Kamille's decomposed remains on October the 22nd, 2019. Derick's defense argued to the judge that the case against her did not meet the criteria for her to be charged with capital murder, a charge making her eligible for the death penalty, because they had not proven she had acted with specific intent to kill Kamille. Additionally, her attorney pointed out the autopsy report did not show forensic evidence from Derick on Kamille's body. However, the judge saw a different angle, and to be fair, I agree with him. He said, quote, "It's clear to me one or both of them sexually abused a child, and went on to kill her and dispose of her body. This woman did not come forward. She could have easily went to law enforcement." End quote. The judge said it was clear they were acting in concert and deemed there was more than enough evidence to forward the case to the grand jury for indictment consideration. Patrick Stallworth and Derick Irisha Brown are due in Jefferson County Circuit Court in February 2022 for a pre-trial hearing. In the end, the grim reality converges between 2 individuals, each telling a different story. That evening, Patrick and Derick were on the prowl targeting young victims. A child's party spoiling them with opportunities and options was all too coincidental. They had several failed attempts. However, persistence ultimately proved effective, with Kamille Cupcake McKinney as the unfortunate victim. Despite their best efforts, federal, state, and local law enforcement were unable to return Kamille to her family. Kidnapping is one of a parent's biggest fears. The abduction can happen in a split second and in a busy environment. That's what makes Kamille's kidnapping so frightening. She was lured away from a birthday party. She had a tightly knit community searching for her, yet it still wasn't enough to prevent this tragedy or deter the child abductors. But how do you prevent this from happening in the first place? We are constantly taught in school, as well as by our parents, how to interact with strangers. But when you think about it, a young child has not developed any reason to distrust another person. When someone wishes to offend a child, they will often make themselves friendly or introduce themselves to the child so the child does not consider them strange. This is the most confusing thing for a child. Children also observe their parents talking to strangers all the time, giving them the false perception that every stranger is safe. After children learn stranger danger, they do not perceive strangers as a threat when there is no danger present. This brings me back to my earlier characterization of Kamille's hostility towards people she did not know. Even her allegedly overdeveloped intuition was overthrown by a child's greatest weakness, candy. Kamille was a sweet, beautiful, very much loved 3-year-old blessing to everyone who met her. And this was recognised when over 1,000 mourners attended Cupcake's funeral at New Beginnings Christian Ministry to mourn and say goodbye to Kamille Cupcake McKinney. 2 weeks and 1 day after she had been abducted, she was transferred to her final resting place at Elmwood Cemetery in a white horse-drawn carriage. Kamille's mother described her daughter as her shining light and will remember the day that her world dimmed forever. She is planning a foundation in Cupcake's memory to help prevent other families from experiencing the loss that her family has. 4 months after the tragic abduction and murder of 3-year-old Kamille Cupcake McKinney, her mother spoke out for the first time.
It's going to be spring break and summer, and I feel like our kids shouldn't be afraid to play. So, I mean, I feel like during her birthday, because it's spring break, you know, educate. You know, I just want to educate them on stranger danger awareness, you know, to make sure this don't happen again, so our kids can be safe and let them know that people like that are not allowed in our communities. I mean, sometimes it's like reliving again. Like I'm reliving it over again, and, you know, the pain of seeing the other parent is like, you know, I can imagine it because I just lived it. I'm still living this nightmare. So, you know, it hurts to see that the community still, you know, we got to stand strong. And the only way we can fix this is we get together and we do it ourselves. Community, you know, back to old Southern hospitality. Neighbors, you know, we're more than just neighbors, we're family.
What's your day-to-day like now?
I mean, it's rough. I mean, I have good days. I have bad days. But, you know, it'll never be the same again. You know, I can't wake up to her smiling at me or waking me up, her hugs, her kisses. So, you know, it's rough.
What you getting through?
Yeah, I get through. It's just God.
A lot of prayer.
Yeah.
And a praying family, and even the community. How do you feel about that? I think the last time I was here, the church, they were donated like food and clothing. They were singing outside. Other organizations. How does that make you feel that there's part of the community that not even the community, the state?
I mean, I'm very grateful. You know, that they let me know that, you know, people care, you know, about what happened, and, you know, all that stuff. It's nice, and, you know, but it's the fact of what we're gonna do to prevent this from happening. You know, like, even though you get those donations or gifts, it's like, okay, it still doesn't bring our kids together. It still doesn't make the community better. So it's like I'd rather see more events towards trying to push things to be better, education for our children, or fun, safe events for our kids to be able to go to and enjoy themselves without someone being shot or kidnapped or hurt.
Yeah. Enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
Yeah, it's beyond time. Would you say that because of what happened, now there's more of a push, or was this kind of already in your head before when you watched the news or when you saw things happen in the community? Was that in your head before, or is this because of what personally?
Well, you know, a lot of people was asking me, you know, her birthday coming up, and I guess like the more and more I seen, you know, been seeing the news and it constantly happening, you know, not just here, but a lot of places. And I was like, well, Cupcake birthday is spring break, and kids, you know, that's where they're going to be, at home, and it's going to be the summertime. So, I mean, our kids, they're going to be playing. They're going to be at home where they're comfortable at. And I feel like every kid deserves to be comfortable playing outside their home. So I was like, for her birthday party, I feel like the theme should be stranger danger awareness.
Are you expecting a lot of folks to, I guess, participate or to be with what you're doing, what you're trying to do?
Honestly, it doesn't really matter. I mean, it ain't about how many people come. It's just, this is something that I want to do for the kids. You know, so I hope, you know, hopefully, you know, people bring their kids out, but it's just something that I want to do for the kids and to celebrate for her birthday every year. Is just stranger danger awareness, just education.
Will it be on that day, on April 22nd?
I'm not really sure yet. I got to see.
In the early stages.
It's still in the plan. That's just the first thing I thought about.
Yeah. What? Where are we at in the investigation? Where's your head at with that and court and all that stuff? Are you kind of staying a little bit away from it now, or are you actively involved, wanting to get answers?
I mean, of course, what parent don't want answers? But right now, I mean, I don't know anything about where they're going at with the investigation right now. Yeah. But, I mean, what parent don't want answers?
How do you feel about some of the naysayers of people on social media as far as, you know, just, I mean, I'm not necessarily clearing your name, but folks that don't understand where you're coming from, what would you want to say?
Well, I mean, some people never understand until it's their family, their friends. All thing I can say is, you know, before you speak on someone, you know, learn the real story, you know, learn the actual facts. Just pray for someone. Don't always give your opinion, because just like you're giving your opinion, you can be living in that person's shoes. And you wouldn't want nobody to do that to you. So just pray for people. You know, stop giving your opinion, because your words hurt just as much as physical violence. Words hurt.
What happens now? Is it a continuing push into stranger danger awareness? I mean, what happens now? Where's your head at now?
Yes, I really want to push forward, because it just, yes, because I don't think I can see another child go through that again. Being somewhere that's comfortable and someone come in intruding on it. And, you know, it just didn't violate me and my family. It violated the community. It violated the city. It violated everyone. So, yeah, I mean, that should be pushed. I mean, I know they push it at school, but, you know, it's up to the parents and the community to push it as well.
Do you feel like you got all the answers that you needed? Do you feel like police got everything that they got to I guess, make their final, you know?
Yes. I mean, it ain't the answers that, you know, I wanted. You know, I would give anything if she would have came home, but yes, and I'm grateful they did got the answer, because I could be out here like any other parent not knowing or wondering what is she. So, yes.
Do you think, though, too, that it might bring you more, like, it will comfort or peace knowing that, say, for instance, if, you know, parents are coming out and they are learning and just kind of seeing parents and children interacting with this stranger dinner. So what you're trying to bring, would that bring more comfort and peace to you? Just knowing that that people are listening to you, you have a voice. Would that bring? What does that do for you?
Yes, it would bring, like, just knowing that the community is, you know, coming out with this education. Yes, I mean, I feel like, you know, more kids will be more aware now. You know, okay, Mommy, I see a strange truck. They keep passing by, slowing down. Let me go tell my mom. Okay, Mom might call the police. We can save someone's life. Even if it might not even be that, it might not even be a perpetrator. But it'll still, you know, it could either push a perpetrator away. But, you know, it'll let people know that, like I said, they're not welcome here.
Seems like you're just really, you're tough, and then you like I said, you're a strong woman to deal with something like this, and there's only a handful of parents that have really dealt with this. There's a lot of missing cases. There's a lot of families that don't really get the end result, and I just commend you, you know, for that. Get into Cupcake. I guess, what was the last, if you remember, what was she like? I mean, folks that didn't know the 3-year-old, you know, that didn't know your girl. What was she? Because we see the pictures and we see the smiles. Just describe her.
She was silly. Like you said, she was always smile. I can't think of not one day she ain't never smile. She was spicy, very spicy.
And where'd she get that from? Was it the grandma or was it the mama? I don't know.
Yeah, she was. It just, I mean, it was just always a joy. It was always something funny or something it was never a dull day around Cupcake. Never. I can't think of never a dull day. She what kept me going. And she was also the boss of the house.
Oh, so she was the one running things.
Yes.
Okay. When you see her picture now, I'm sure like every day before you go to work, as soon as you walk in the door, you see this over here. What goes through your mind?
I mean, sometimes when I wake up, it's like, when I wake up in the morning, sometimes it's like it's a dream. Sometimes I wake up, it ain't real, but it's like sometimes when I see the pictures, it's like a reminder that this is reality. And you know, and that hurts, because that's a tough reality to have to live with every day. Knowing that monsters, you know, changed my life forever.
Getting back to just what you want to do, if you can just kind of map it out. I know we're still in the beginning stages of what you want to do, but how would you right now? Like, give me the when, where, how, if you had a magic wand, and if you had your way, where would you want this event to be at, or how would you want it to be done?
Well, right now I'm not really sure. I want to say, like, you know, over here in the Avondale community. I mean, I know that's where it happened at, but then I'm not sure yet about location. But I mean, I know I would want it to be a birthday party, you know, something where the kids can have fun, or maybe it could be something like where the kids can do like every year they can do what is it, the Identikid, when they do the fingerprints and take a picture, and you know, that's something they can do every year just in case something like this happens, you know, just education.